Bro, what are you doing? Like, what are you wearing?
It's a Twilight shirt. Duh.
You still rocking with Twilight?
Why wouldn't I be?
I mean, the abusive relationship, the bad and or lack of representation of people of color, the manipulation, the grooming, need I go on?
The abusive relationship, the bad and or lack of representation of people of color, the manipulation.
Hello and welcome to another day of literary litigation, where today's topic is Twilight toxic? Huh? Who submitted this? I did. I must know the truth. And how did this come about? I was wearing my Twilight shirt and I was told about all these issues in Twilight that I've never seen before.
It's true, they had no idea.
And you are? That's the person ruining the only thing that brings me joy. Well, let's see if this argument has any merit before we start ruining people's joy. Yes?
Are you sure you're the most unbiased?
Yes.
So then, what is this? In fact, what is this?
And your shirt? Now, let's get into the argument. Could someone please hand me the file of the arguments? Thank you. Whoa. Okay. Number one, Edward is a creep. I can actually see that, yeah. He is always following her, and he sneaks into her room and watches her sleep. And she's just okay with it. I will admit that does sound a little strange. Stalkerish a bit, perhaps. Oh, now. There's another argument for native representation. Well, I am not indigenous, but from the arguments that many indigenous people have presented, I shall go through the arguments they have made. This work of literature takes all of the Native American stereotypes. The stereotypes of Native Americans being savages and of the Native American men harming children with the imprinting scenario. Saying that they are all poor, cutting hair. It seems that Native Americans like to keep their hair long and really only cut it for grief. So for them to cut their hair to become wolves is inaccurate for the culture and rooted in European customs. Fetishization of Native men, well, yes, they are always quite shirtless. I, in fact, enjoyed that quite a bit. Yes, this does seem very bad. How in Midnight Sun, I don't know, I have not read Midnight Sun. Apparently Edward said he would slaughter all of the indigenous people at La Push. Does that not sound bad to you? Because it sounds bad to me. Next we have domestic violence with Emily and how it's brushed off. Now see, domestic violence is actually a huge issue in the indigenous community, and for there to be no real depth into the domestic violence issue was a missed opportunity, it seems some people say. And then warping of the story and the council meeting altogether. So it appears that that story that was in Eclipse is actually quite inaccurate. And it's very inaccurate actually, and it centers on on vampires, and that's really not how it works. And it also diminishes the role of women in the tribe. And there is also the nature of the council meeting altogether. See, Maya made it seem that council meetings are just sitting around fire telling stories, when actual council meetings happen in a council meeting room for council meetings. And last but not least, the tattoos. It seems that the tattoo is just very inaccurate. As of right now, it's not looking so good for you, I will say. Next argument's racism. Oh no. Where'd that come from? It's always been there. Anywho, racism. First is that white pale skin is always representative of beauty. In fact, when Bella is talking about vampires that are not white, it's always they are beautiful in spite of not being white. And the people that should be black are olive-skinned. And I'm tired of the word olive-skinned. Are you tired of the word olive-skinned? And next, this is a huge issue. We've seen this issue in Twilight, in Vampire Diaries, really in a lot of things. And it's why must we love the Confederate armies? Why must Jasper not reconcile that he was part of the Confederate army? He makes no suggestions that he's remorseful of his decision to be in the Confederate army. And that is terrible. Oh, yes, I remember this dispute. This dispute was when Catherine Hardwicke, the director for the first Twilight, wanted to cast more direct people. I believe she wanted Alice to be Asian. Is that correct? Yes. She wanted Alice to be Asian. But Maya said all the people had to be white. But there were a couple people that were allowed to not be white, and that is Laurent and that is Tyler. And what do Laurent and Tyler have in common? They are victimized. Victimization of people of color. The only representation we see of people of color is in a negative light. Laurent tried to kill Bella in New Moon. Tyler hit her with his car. More people that have been victimized, Maria, because she built the army of newborns to do something evil. I can't remember what it was, but something, and she was of Mexican descent. And Jacob that we knew from Twilight and New Moon is not the Jacob we knew in Eclipse. No, the Jacob in New Moon would never have forced himself on Bella. The Jacob in New Moon never would have done all the other anger issues that all of a sudden came out of nowhere in Eclipse, which goes back to Native representation, because it seems that Maya is saying that Native men are violent. Ah, yes, and last part of racism, the white savior complex in Breaking Dawn. Ah, the evidence for this is in fact because when Jacob, Leah, and Boo Boo Stewart, also known as Seth, go to protect the Cullens just throw them food and throw them clothes because, oh, how gracious are these white people. Ooh. Oh, this is another big chunk. Relationship issues. Oh. So are they not true love? Should we not be looking to them for relationship advice? Well, let's see what these issues say. Codependency with both Edward and Jacob. Y'all, I can see that. I can see that right now. I could see that because Bella cannot do anything without Edward. And when Edward left, she could do nothing without Jacob. For example, everything that Bella does is tied to Edward. She cannot see her friends without Edward's approval. She has all these secrets that Edward has given to her because Edward is a vampire and so she's a part of that world. And then when Edward leaves her, what does she do? She goes to Jacob because Jacob is a drug to her of some sort to replace what she has lost because she has not yet grasped how to be alone. Next, Edward in Twilight, how every 5 seconds he was saying, "Get thee away from me," but then the next 5 seconds he was like, "I cannot stay away from you." So what is it? Should I get thee away or should I come forth? Ah, yes, Edward and his abusive relationship and manipulations. So when Edward broke Bella's car so that Bella could not see Jacob, remember that? Oh, yes. Yes, that was bad. Oh, and when Edward had Alice kidnap Bella, when Edward went to go hunt, oh, that is also very terrible. Ooh, And Bella's 17? Let's process some word. Yes. Ah, yes, like what I talked about back when the racism and native representation, Jacob not understanding that no means no. So when he forces himself upon Bella in Eclipse, and then when he manipulates her at the end of Eclipse to get her to kiss him. Ah, next, Stephanie Meyer made Jacob a pedophile / groomer. Oh, yeah, imprinting on a baby. Let's process his warrant too. There is no way to not make that sound inappropriate or creepy or concerning. That is concerning. That is disturbing and disgusting, and I do not like that. That's right. Ah, and last but not least, in relationship issues, forcing a marriage. How Edward would not turn her into a vampire until she agrees to marry him. And other stuff he won't do until she agrees to marry him. She has made it quite clear that she does not want to marry him. She made it clear in New Moon. But yet and still, he is forcing her to marry him in order to get what she wants. I'm glad I took that shirt off, right? Yeah. It's quite concerning, it is. Quite concerning. And so we've come to the end of our documents. We're mostly going to be looking at honorable mentions now. So the few honorable mentions that I have is, why did Stephanie Meyer compare Bella's clumsiness to a disability? There are actual people with disabilities, and that's just insensitive. Number 2, purity culture. If you read the book, you understand it. It's all up in there. It's probably due to Meyer's beliefs, but it's a little disgusting, no? Why does Bella keep saying she's albino? That's just really weird to me. I don't know. Oh, Bella's parents are bad. Yes, they're bad. So Charlie knows that, doesn't like Edward's relationship with Bella, and neither does her mom, but yet and still, they're okay with her marrying him right after she graduates from high school. Suspicious, no? Rosalie and her aggressive pro-life. Ooh, yeah. Remember when she just wanted the baby when Bella was pregnant, and how she wouldn't care if Bella had died? Oh, I remember that. Stephanie Meyer's views of women are very upsetting. Why are her views of women that they have to give birth and be married and things of that nature? And why can't women do other things? Like, I don't know, rule the world. This is another good point, and I would just like to make this known, that Stephanie Meyer is bad at science. And should we really be letting young, impressionable children read this in this wrong outlook on science? Because I'm just confused. Because Rosalie has always wanted a child, but she could not have one because she's a vampire. But by that means of logic, how could Edward have a child with Bella? This does not work scientifically, and I'm very confused. I am very confused. And also on that nature, if the reason why Jacob was in love with Bella was because he was supposed to imprint on her child, shouldn't that also mean that Jacob was also in love with Edward at some point? Because of science? No? Yeah? And so that brings me to my last point, which we know is not really true because of Stephanie Meyer's beliefs. I think Edward and Bella are demisexual. I think they're demisexual because they claim to not have feelings, never have had lustful feelings until they have met each other, which aligns with people that are demisexual. But at this point, I just want to know, why could this not have been a poly relationship? Because at one point, Edward and Jacob were both willing to figure out a situation. So I'm concerned. Actually, no, I'm not concerned. I know why it cannot be a poly relationship, because S. Meyer does not believe in those things. But had we expounded our bounds, we could have had a great poly relationship. And that concludes the argument. There is really nothing more to say.
So it's true. Twilight is toxic.
I mean, look at the evidence. Is this not enough for you? I did mention quite a lot of problematic things. My verdict is that the Twilight Saga is hella toxic and problematic and would not fly in 2020. Literary litigation is dismissed. Hello everyone, thank you for staying tuned and watching till the end of the video. This is my first ever sketch and I'm really excited and happy with the way it turned out. So the reason why I did this now was because it's starting to get a little bit colder and this is when ABC Family, Freeform, Freeform would usually be playing a bunch of Twilight movies. And so because of the fact that while I did have positive memories of Twilight, it is quite problematic, so I just wanted to do this nice little video. And also while we're talking about this, there is a cause for the Quileute tribe. That is the tribe portrayed in Twilight. They're trying to move to higher ground. They're trying to move the schools first because they are currently in an area that's prone to flooding. I'm gonna leave that link in the description in case you would like to donate as well. So that's really all I have to say. But before you go, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Click that bell notification so you don't miss out on when I post. And now, oh my gosh, this bow is so cute. All that's left to say is bye-bye.